Huh. Well, this must be the place. Strange place to hold a commander night. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Had trouble finding the place. Huh. I know this was a private event, but where is everyone? Jimmy? Prof? Huh. Maybe it was canceled? What the? What was that? Hello? Oh God! Oh what the? Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Huh? Who the hell are you? What did you do to my friends? Huh? Huh? Oh God! Oh, it's locked. Hey, let me out of here. Huh? Huh?
Oh, Timmy.
How do you know my name?
I've heard from some other second-rate clowns that say we all float. But you know, Timmy, every balloon has got to
Hello there, clowns and sideshow talents. Welcome back to the only Magic the Gathering channel on the internet, Commander in General, where in general, we talk about Commander. Duskmorn is upon us, and we were immediately graced with this creepy little guy, the Jolly Balloon Man, or as the internet has taken to calling him, Freaky-Jiki, for obvious reasons. And yes, he is similar in a lot of ways, but he is also different in a lot of ways. Like, first and foremost, he's Boros. In the actual Commander slot in our deck, this changes quite a bit. And oh yeah, they come in as 1/1 flying red balloon creatures? What? For the love of God, is anyone at all, gonna match this guy's freak? However, his biggest downside is that his ability is sorcery speed, so mostly we're going to have to focus on our shenanigans on our own turns. But we're going to explore some different directions that this deck could go, and I think it's going to be a pretty powerful one. But before we do, thank you to everyone who has supported me this far. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want more videos like this one, why not subscribe and get more nightmare-inducing deck techs just like this one. But even more than all of that, because of all of your support, I'm now able to offer YouTube memberships, which is really exciting. If you don't have the dollars to toss my way, don't even worry about it at all. But if you do, and you enjoy the content, right now there's only 2 tiers. The first of which is Goblin tier, which gets you these really cool typal emojis that I cooked up, so I really hope you like them. And if you don't like them and your favorite creature type isn't represented here, the other perk is that you'll get access to members only polls to affect things on the channel, like which emojis I add next. The second tier is Merfolk tier, which gets you all of that plus an extra shout out at the end of each main channel video. So once again, no pressure, but if you enjoy the content, you want to give a little extra, I'll try and do my best to make it worth your while. But now, let's get down in those sewers and see what's up. What Freaky-Jiki is really good at is ETB triggers and LTB triggers. He does have the advantage of coming in at 3 mana instead of 5, so we do get him out a bit earlier than the regular Kiki, but we also have a little mana gate on his ability. This means that Kiki-Jiki is much easier to combo with, but there are still some combos that are possible here, and we'll be getting into those in just a little bit. But I see the Balloon Man as more of a toolbox deck, and I think that we'll have a decent amount of focus on cards that can also untap him, so we can get as many triggers as possible and really push that advantage. The more balloons, the bigger the party. So let's start there. For starters, Ramana II and Halo Fountain can give us each 1 extra for a little bit of mana, just like a few of our artifact options. Cards like Mage Right Stone, Patriarch's Seal, Staff of Domination, and even Sting will give us an untap on our combat. I really wouldn't discount how much one extra activation could give you, especially once you see where we're headed. But some other equipment can give us even more activations if we've got the mana or some type of combo to make more mana. For instance, Umbral Mantle and Sword of Perins paired with something like Dockside Extortionist. These will go infinite before you can say. We can also get similar effects if we copy a creature like Village Bellringer while we have a mana dork out like Iron, Gold, Alloy, Palladium, or Plague Mirror to pay for the activation cost. Ornithopter of Paradise is also an option. You're gonna have so many fucking balloons, your opponents are gonna think they just got smacked by a Macy's Day Parade. We don't even have to attack with them either. If we're playing cards like a Gate Instigator, Impact Tremors, Perforos, Molten Gatekeeper, War Leader's Call, or Witty Roastmaster, we can just ping them all to their untimely demise. Maybe I should have gone for the clown laugh again. But seriously, even if we aren't comboing out, I wouldn't discount these types of effects. But if you're wanting to do a little more ETB damage, well, say no more. Fanatic of Mogus can do work if we've got a few red cards out. Combustible Gearhulk, we all know is a powerhouse. And new from Bloomborough, we've got another cool weapon in our repertoire, Sunspine Lynx, who not only comes in with a few insurance effects, but deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls, each and every time we get an ETB. Absolutely massive. But if we're going to be doing all this sweet comboing to fill our sweet tooth, get it? Clown jokes. Then we're going to need mana. If we're behind on mana, Knight of the White Orchid, Loyal Warhound, and Claim Jumper can help us catch up. But once we're caught up, we can copy things like Burnished Heart, and sack it to get some lands, or Solemn Simulacrum, which will not only get us a land, but inevitably every balloon has to pop, and we'll also get to draw a card, so doubly is good. Speaking of card draw, this is actually one of the ways Boros draws cards really well, starting off with small creatures like Helpful Hunter, Spirited Companion, Circuit Mender, Firing Overseer, and Wall of Omens, who all draw some cards on ETB, and once we start stacking some ETB triggers, we're going to be loaded up. And if I'm being honest, we're just getting started with the amount of cards we could be drawing, because white also has tons of effects that check for small balloon-like creatures entering the battlefield, like Enduring Innocence, which is especially nice because it comes back as an enchantment, Rumor Gatherer, Mentor of the Meek, Welcoming Vampire, and the Caretaker's Talent from Bloomborough. I'll throw this card in here as well. Beza, the Bounding Spring, also can draw us cards if we're behind on cards, but it can also gain us life, cook us up some fish, and oh yeah, look for lands. For a 4 mana 4/5, this card is a shoe-in. A clown shoe, that is. And lastly here, we have Trumpeting Carnosaur, which instead of drawing us cards, discovers. So while we can just put the card in our hand, we could also just get to cheat something out. Some non-ETB card draw I would also add if we're going to be making tons of 1/1 tokens are Skull Clamp, duh. It's also sort of a horror Saw-esque card, so that's fitting, but also Idol of Oblivion. But now we all know that we shouldn't build our decks too heavily around having our commander out, because he could not be out. To help with this, we can do a few things. A, always use protection, like Lightning Greaves, Mithril Coat, and Cosmic Intervention. And B, we should always play redundancies. Obviously, the best redundancy here is the Kiki-Jiki himself, with all of his own classic combos like Felidar Guardian and Zealous Conscripts, so that's all fine and dandy. But we've also got tons of other cool copy effects, like Kadrek Soul Kindler, who also lets us subvert the legend rule should we need to. Rootborn Defenses is a nice little protection spell with the addition of Populate, so we can double up on token creation, just like Nesting Dovehawk, who is a creature that also gets bigger and bigger whenever we have another token enter. Molten Duplication is another great one-off in a pinch. Mirror March is just a pet card of mine, but it's super fun to resolve and I highly recommend it. But lastly, we have this card I think is really interesting from Bloomborough. It's called Echoing Assault. It says that firstly, creature tokens we control have menace, which is great. Our tokens aren't huge, but maybe we could play some cards like Flowering of the White Tree, Inspiring Leader, or Intangible Virtue to make them a little more threatening. I don't know that this is necessarily the play, especially in a deck like the one we've been putting together so far, but I think it would be a cool direction to take it. So let me take a big old detour in the middle of this card and ask you guys, how are you building the Jolly Balloon Man? Let me know down in the comments, I'm interested to know. But anyways, the other half of this card is whenever you attack a player, choose target non-token creature that's attacking that player. Create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1. It enters tapped and attacking that player, and we sack it at the beginning of the next end step. So this one is a little bit more attack oriented, but it also gives us another ETB and LTB trigger. But obviously, we don't need to be bringing in tokens to double these effects that we've got on our creatures. We've got the original creatures after all, we can just flicker them. One-off cards like Cloud Shift and Ephemerate can also be nice protection spells since they're instant speed on top of being low to the ground flickers. We can get some other one-off flickers with cards like Conjurer's Closet and Teleportation Circle, which do it once on each of our turns. Flicker Wisp and Charming Prince, which do it once on each DB, so we could be flickering these guys and get more effects out of them. Eldrazi Displacer, who can just do it whenever you have the mana, so I'm sure there's some combo potential there too. And Cloudstone Curio puts them back into our hand, but especially with those small creatures, this can get really out of hand quick. But our board is going to go absolutely nuts when we start getting into cards like Eerie Interlude, which can bounce our whole board and bring it back on our next end step, and once again could double as a protection spell. Lae'zel's Acrobatics, which depending on our role can do the same, but with an added extra ETB in there for our whole board. And then an absolutely bonkers card from Thunder Junction, Another Round, which has a very similar effect except we repeat it X amount of times. Can you imagine? We've also got some more interactive ETBs for removal. Now these effects obviously cost a whole lot less when we're playing in a color like black, but we've still got some cool ones here like Highcliff Felidar, who gets one creature from each of our opponents that has the greatest power. So I would say this one is worth the cost, especially if we can get more than one activation out of it. Kranko's Buzz Crusher, which can destroy non-basic lands that might be pesky, and Meteor Golem and Cavalier of Dawn destroy any non-land permanent. Cavalier of Dawn also getting an extra dies trigger, which could be nice. And while we're talking about die triggers, quick aside to talk about all the dragon spirits who have some really cool die trigger effects: impulsive draw, treasures, card selection, counters, damage, and creature tapping. The older ones are a little on the expensive side, but the newer ones I think are definitely playable. But back to removal. Cathar Commando, Dauntless Dismantler, and Westfold Rider are some great options for interacting with enchantments and artifacts, and if we're copying these guys with Freaky-Jiki over there, we can just keep shooting stuff down. Okay, a few quick categories here. Imperial Recruiter and Recruiter of the Guard are some cool recurable options in this deck to tutor a large portion of our deck. Chromatic Guide and Sun Titan are really good options for recurring those same things should they find their bitter end. And having some sack outlets, especially the ones that give us mana like Ashnod's Altar and Phyrexian Altar, can be great to activate LTBs at a more opportune time, create some extra mana, and they can also be really good combo pieces. And my last category here I'm just gonna call Go Big or Go Home. There's a lot of steps in this whole process that we've built up here, so we actually have like 3 or 4 opportunities along the way to make all these effects even better. Firstly, we're activating an ability on Freaky-Jiki. We can double that trigger to create even more tokens with cards like Eartha Joe, Frontier Mentor, Strionic Resonator, Illusionist's Bracers, and Battle Mage's Bracers. We can also multiply the number of tokens we're getting with cards like Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, Ojurtak, Deepest Foundation, Anointed Procession, and Mondrak, Glory Dominus. And even then, we're triggering ETB abilities, so cards like Delny Streetwise Lookout and Panharmonicon can also double that. And you've also got quite a few to choose from when it comes to which video you'd like to watch next, because this one is sadly over. But my last video was on Infamous Cruel Claw from Bloomborough, and I think that video came out really well, so I would definitely give that a look. But to everyone who made it this far, please let me know what you thought down in the comments. I reply to each and every one of them. Please remember to hit that like button if you've been enjoying these videos, and if you haven't yet already, please sub and hit that bell button to get more wacky videos just like this one. We're getting super close to my original goal of 1,000 subs, so share with your friends if you have other friends who are also a bunch of big dorky nerds. Thank you all so much. This has been my deck tech for the Jolly Balloon Man, and I will see you all